Hello everyone, and you might be wondering why so much walking, and this is actually a part of our this each morning, and it's to do a safety check on the outside of the train to see that everything is in place and in order, and if the train has been visited by some artists. These doors are not supposed to be closed. And this one is for Jay Johnson. Happy birthday! Everyone on the channel, give up one for Jay Johnson. He just turned 80! So this was actually the first day at work after 2 weeks of quarantine and 4 weeks in the US. So I haven't been driving trains for 6 weeks. So every time that happens, I am kind of like, how was this all supposed to be done again? Just kidding. Thankfully, after so many years as a driver, everything is like in the fingertips. So I met up at work the day before, went through all changes and stuff like that, and the new routines due to the situation we are in right now. And the strangest thing is that you don't see anyone outside anymore. It's really weird. The platform is supposed to have people on it already when I come to work. Now the commuter's just waiting for the train to come down from the parking area, and the other ones are waiting for the train that is going further. So yeah, it's just weird. It's weirdly quiet. There's no traffic, there's no people, and even this was it was 6:34 a.m. and it felt like 3 a.m. because there was no people out. Yeah, just plain weird for a Monday. Thank you for becoming a member, Okidoki Karaoke. I think I saw a question here earlier that someone was wondering how many seats there actually are in this train. And I could say that on the comfort or first class, there are 28 seats. And on the standards, and there are 199 standard seats. And there are 257 passengers that are actually able to stand in the train as well. So the train has a fairly huge capacity. Big Al 268. Yeah, I think the new, if I remember correctly, they don't sell tickets on board anymore. And on the regional trains, they have reduced the capacity to with I think it's 50%. So there's like just in every double seater, there's just one person. So the capacity is like really low. I was at Myrdal today, and a regional train passed by, and there were almost no people on it. I was like, wow, it's Saturday. That train is supposed to be packed, and it was virtually empty. Larry, yeah, we are running the trains, or the service is reduced to kind of a minimum, but Norway is kind of opening up, and they are going to open up for the lower level at school I think it's the coming week. So I think we're going to be running more trains, and that is just to be able to space out the people who is actually going to be traveling, so that we actually have enough rolling stock going and enough trains to kind of take and spread the capacity out on several trains. Thank you for being here, VA Moon. Hello, hello, Doberman. And we just got news today that all sports arrangements, concerts, festivals and everything, or any gathering with more than 500 people has been cancelled out the year or until September. So that means that there will be no festivals in Norway, and a lot of sports happenings and everything will be cancelled. And yeah, that's kind of a downer. I was kind of looking forward to Extreme Sport Week, but it was kind of hanging in the threads, and with the decision today, it's yeah, definitely not gonna happen. Johan, if my train is faster than the shadow, either you have to ask Lucky Luke or you need to ask Chuck Norris, because I definitely know that Chuck Norris is faster than any shadow on this planet. Whoa, thank you so much for the super chat, John. Yeah, and right now we are arriving the station called Bulken. Ian Walker, you were supposed to be at Voss today, or like now? Uh, I mean, I was down in Flom today, and it was really, really weird because at this time of the year, it should have been packed down there. We should have been running double service on a train or 2 train service, and the yard down there and the pier should have been just completely swamped with people, and now it was completely empty. In 2 days down there, I just saw like 6 people. So it's really weird. It feels really weird that everything is kind of shut down, and I do understand why. And it's not that, it's just weird. Naomi, seriously, if I hadn't been back to work due to no service at all or anything like that, I would actually stick my GoPro to the roof of my car and be driving through Voss and edit that video and put that out on the internet as well. Jay Johnson, those 3 stupid lights, or those 3 dots, was basically my intelligence before I adjusted the camera. I actually forgot to turn off the front LED. I know, really stupid. I'm just glad it isn't visible outside and just visible in the tunnel, because I was like, oh no, when I saw the video. Thank you so much for the super chat, Kevin. Hey there, Victor. Are you becoming a train driver? How far in the process have you come? Thank you so much for the super chat, Steva. Thank you so much for the super chat, Bob. Michael, yeah, the past 2 weeks here at Voss has been incredible. It's like been nice and warm, beautiful weather, no clouds, and yeah, really sense of spring and early summer. quite a stark contrast to what we had this winter, which was like every second day was like either snow or rain. So this winter has been totally crazy, and as you know, the weather on the mountain pass has been really treacherous this winter, and yeah, a really nice change to actually see blue skies and feel the warmth on your skin here in Norway again. Oh, Naomi, you should wait till you see Norway in full blossom. What kind of camera I'm using? I'm actually using a GoPro 8 and running that in 4K. I use a 512 gigabyte memory card, and I have it connected to a power bank because the GoPro batteries are just not able to keep it going and recording for like more than maximum 20 minutes. And not only that, the camera becomes really hot when you're recording in 4K, so it really helps to pull out the battery and just have it connected to a power bank, because then you actually get a lot more air into the camera. Yeah. Thank you so much for your super chat, Sakura. And thank you so much for super chat, Ayan. Michael King, I'm just gonna tell you right now, I would not trade any tornado with the weather we had here, because we have been, or once I was on a road trip in the States, and we had a really bad weather following us. We're going north from Texas, and I remember there was a storm going up the same direction, and we were kind of worried that the tornadoes that were in that storm would actually follow us and catch up with us. Yeah, it was crazy. Thank you so much for the super chat, Rob. Thank you so much for the super chat, Mr. Mad. Alexander, the tunnels on this line, a lot of them was actually built really early on in 1883, if I'm not remembering wrong. But most of the tunnels were actually built afterwards due to the fact that they were changing from narrow gauge to standard gauge, which we are running on right now. Stephen Kisser, I think it was only 28 or 50 people, between 28 or 50 people running on this train that day, and I think definitely that there is actually more people in this chat right now than there were people on that train, this commuter train that morning. Naomi, would that tunnel be named Finse? Ken Gardner, those three red lights are actually the front LEDs on the GoPro I used. I forgot to turn them off. Thank you so much for another super chat, Mr. Mad. Hey there, Heather and Susie. Thank you for loving the channel. Ellen Nash, did you ask me to mention one positive thing that has happened to me during this time? Thank you so much for the super chat, CJ. Ellie, actually, I can't say that anything negative has happened to me during this time. Yeah, I've had a lot of free time in quarantine to do things that I haven't been able to do otherwise, and I actually built a couple of bumblebee hives, so hopefully the bumblebees that are searching, the queens that are searching the hills around my place, they will actually start nesting or building a hive in those boxes, and that would be pretty awesome if they did that. So yeah, nothing negative has actually happened to me. Nice to see you here again, Stellark. Jan Erik, this was actually recorded on Monday. Alexander? No, I actually didn't know that. Ah, that is kind of cool. And you probably already know that Finse, one of the train stations, the highest situated train station on this line, was actually the icy planet Hoth. That was actually the scene where, yeah, the location where they filmed the outside scenes on Hoth. CJ, I definitely know that feeling. Oh yeah, and the pronunciation of the previous station was Evanger, and this station is called or pronounced Bolstadøyri. LA, pollination is the key. It's definitely the key. Without pollination, we would have no fruits, berries, or anything. Frank, the station was pronounced Bolstadøyri. Frank, on a normal day, we can actually go up and down twice. Usually it's a typical day on when we're doing the local service is that we start at Voss, we do the security check on the train, and then we drive to Bergen, then we go to Arna, back to Bergen, and to Arna, back to Bergen. We do this 3 times, and then we go back to Voss and park the train. So typical morning commute, and then do some back and forth in the tunnel and go back in the afternoon commute. That is a typical day on the Voss line. Or you could have a combination that you would start at Voss, go to Bergen, and then you would go all the way to Myrdal and then back to Voss. That is one of the shorter days. We also do have days where you actually go to Bergen, and from Bergen all the way to Ål, then you sleep over and you go back to Bergen the day after and drive the commute back to Voss. Catherine, have you asked me something? It's easier for me to catch a question if you actually tag me in your question. Yeah, you can say that. Jan Erik, yeah, it is Vy that is actually running the Bergen line right now, and they actually won the franchise for the next 11 years or 10+1. So they are going to continue to run this line. That tunnel called Trollkona, it is 8 kilometers long. The station we are arriving at now is called Dale. Kathy, not like kind of a Stephen King. I'm actually not quite sure how to explain it. It's just fewer people and it's kind of weird. If I get to see my family more often? No, I do not. Actually, my brother and mother and father actually are in the risk group, so I have to keep my distance. So yeah, I don't get to see them more often now. Actually, I get to see them less now. Hey there, Tommy Comfort. I actually got your messages and I'm really glad these videos are actually able to help you with your studying. And seriously, if you have any questions, just ask me. I used to be an instructor at the academy, so just ask. Devil's Channel, the highest speed for trains in Norway is 210 kilometers per hour. And on the Bergen line, the highest speed is 160 kilometers per hour. And they are building in the intercity triangle, they are actually building high-speed lines that is capable of doing 250, but right now they have capped the speed at 200. So it is still just a stretch between Oslo, Lillestrøm, and from Lillestrøm to Oslo Airport, and from Oslo Airport to a place called Eidsvoll Verk, which is capable of the highest speeds in Norway, which is 210 kilometers per hour. Walker, it was still kind of early in the morning, so I think it was about 6 or 7 degrees. Naomi Garza, yes, we are definitely flirting in this video. Devil's Channel, driving in 210 kilometers per hour is actually not a rush. And the reason for that is that this track is so straight and you are running on double track, and where this line is at is just like farmland, so you don't have the sense of rush of driving fast because of the vast open landscape and flat. So yeah, but I can say that 160 kilometers per hour on this line actually feels a lot faster than 210 on that high speed line. Thank you so much for the super chat, Kathy. Yeah, Kathy, it is what it is, and hopefully they will be able to come up with a vaccine that will help those who actually are in the risk group or make us other less contagious. Yeah, we'll just see what the future brings. Larry Ford, yeah, that is actually one of the reasons that it hasn't been built any high-speed lines on here to Bergen yet. It's basically because it's going to be a wicked long tunnel, and that's all there is. There is a project that between Voss and Bergen called K5, which is going to be a line dimension for 250 kilometers per hour, and it is going to be mostly in the tunnel, and you will just have like small glimpse of the outside when you go from one mountain into the next one. And yeah, so I'm actually not really looking forward to that. This station we're entering right now is called or pronounced Stanghelle. Thank you, Kathy. Devil's Channel, yeah, the scenery, especially on this part we're running right now, and you'll see that when we actually get closer to the tunnel, and when we come out of the next tunnel, the scenery is just stunning. It's This is by far my favorite stretch on the line. L18, I'm actually not sure if they are going to do a repaint of the B7 coaches. I guess something is going to happen when the contract is ready and when Norske Tog has decided if they are going to give the Bergen line all the B7s and pull out the B5, or yeah, or if there's gonna be a mix. So as soon as we know which carriages and the series of the carriages, like number-wise, we're gonna get, I guess they're gonna start relivering those trains and locos and everything when everything is ready. So I don't think we're gonna see any new livery before like the end of this year or maybe mid next year. Devil's Channel, if you really want to experience scenic train rides, then I really recommend you traveling with this line, the Bergen line, and do the Norway in a nutshell. It is a tour that combines boat, train, and a bus trip to Hardanger, and it is really beautiful, and I really recommend that trip. Hold on and I will give you a link. E18, I think actually it is going to look quite cool. There's actually someone who is making, I think is making the green livery for the L18 in the game called Transport Fever 2. So yeah, it's just like a fantasy concept, but still it looks quite cool. Naomi, the body of water you see to your right is actually not just fresh water, it's actually salt water. It's a fjord, and it's called Veafjorden. The next station we will be entering is pronounced Vaksdal. L18, manipulate the flirt so nobody can switch it on. I'm not sure what you're trying to refer to, but do you mean like to make sure that no one is able to get in, or? Unlock? That is awesome! And as you can see from the track, and what's left to the left is that they're actually changing sleepers, and they are going to change the switch that we just drove through. Thank you so much for the tip, -2 EV. And as you can see on the road to the right, this trip to Bergen at this time in the morning, it should have been like really packed with cars, but there's actually no cars. Full steel rails? Yeah, I'm really glad I'm actually out of quarantine. Naomi Garza, the name of this tunnel is Hananipa. Elaten, I'm actually not gonna disclose what kind of car I'm driving, but it's I can tell you as much, it's not like a rich girl mobile. It is a really white standard car. Elaten, I can disclose as much that it's quite a standard Vaksdal. Angelo? Yeah, I actually love my job. I think this is the most awesome job in the world. Devil's Channel? This is actually an EMU I'm running right now. And you can actually look it up. It's a Stadler Flirt. Designated in Norway as Class 75. And the station we are arriving at right now is pronounced Trengereid. CJ, I'm not sure I would ever drive something that Jeremy Clarkson built. Like, ever. And Naomi Garza, do you mean the track that's split to the right? That actually goes nowhere. And if you are thinking about in the tunnel, the track that's split off in there is the track you see to your left right here. CJ, yeah, Top Gear is totally epic. Yeah, and guys, to your left right now, or coming into the station, is the regional train to Oslo. This is the Morning Express, and it is designated train 61. I'm sorry, 61 is the opposite direction. This is actually train 62. Larry Ford, yeah, that is absolutely true. One of my mantras in life has always been to chase your goals and try to, like, fulfill your dreams. So that means that you have to go with the flow in so many cases, because you as a person will always evolve throughout life, and your goals might also change throughout life. And in my life, as an example, I was actually educated for technology like it. I actually worked IT, and at some point in that journey, I actually met the wall. Because sitting there in a cubicle was just something I didn't want to do anymore. And at that point, I thought I need to find something new to do. And what actually happened is that I actually worked as a freelance photographer, ended up driving trams when that proved not fruitful at some point, when all the newspapers kicked off all the freelance contracts and minimize their staff in photography. And at that time I've actually drove trams because as a kid I thought driving trams would be pretty cool. And from there I thought that, like, yeah, this is kind of local, it's one city, it's like slow. And then I asked myself, what did you really want to do when you were a kid? And I always fancied trains for some strange reason. And that is probably because my grandma always took me down to the railroad yard, so we were watching them shunting around down there and seeing like big freight trains, and you feel so small. I felt so little around trains, and that probably kind of made me think that trains were pretty cool. And here I am today. Been driving trains for 12 years and still think it's really awesome. And yeah, I guess the whole point of that speech was that no matter what kind of situation you are in, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Because if you really want to chase your dreams, it is going to be uncomfortable on the way. You really have to work for it. And yeah, so don't be afraid. Be brave. Step out. Transparent politics? Actually, I don't drive many lines because the system in Norway right now, where the passenger transport and lines has been split up into franchises, kind of locks us to the lines we're working on. As a driver on the Bergen line, if you are based in Bergen, Voss or Ål in Hallingdal, or in Oslo for that matter, you basically just drive the Bergen line. That's all you do, up and down. Thankfully for us that is based here in the west, like Ål, Voss and Bergen, we actually also get to drive on the Flom line. But yeah, that's about it. Same thing is going to happen in Oslo as well. They are going to split up the whole traffic package in Oslo into two, so you will have the West Corridor, that is the 10-minute system, which will be one franchise, and then you will have the East Line, which will be another franchise. So yeah, as a driver, our everyday will be more monotone and you're gonna be doing less different things. And yeah, so I guess the politicians just had to do this. Historically, in 1883, the government in Norway was fed up by the chaos of all the privatized railroads in Norway. So they established at that time NSB, Norway State Rail, and they bought up every private enterprise that was actually owning some railroad and gathered everything into one effective company that actually was running trains, was doing the infrastructure, was planning new lines and everything. It ended up in one company. And now history just kind of repeats itself, and they have this brilliant idea that splitting up everything is going to be more effective because each company will be really pro on what they're doing. And we are the drivers and everyone who works on this, in this segment, in this branch, is like, guys, this is not going to work. This is just going to worsen everything. But they're like, no. It's going to be so much cheaper. It's going to be so much more effective. And yeah, everything has just proved that it's getting more expensive. Yeah, the services is getting cheaper because they are cutting salaries, they're cutting pensions, they're cutting this and that. They're like cutting on maintenance. Yeah, how far can we actually push this before we need to repair it? But the administrations, holy cow. I mean, seriously, there are now more paper shufflers in this business than any other. And it's like, yeah, the production has gone cheaper, but the cost in general has gone up. So yeah, I guess that there's gonna be 10 years from the last package, and after that we'll see if the question will arise, which company is actually going to be running everything again. So yeah, That said, what we know and from experience from other countries like England is that it is going to be a lot more expensive to gather it again compared to what it actually costs selling everything out. Quick bucks is going to be like really pricey when you want to get it back in the end. And that was today's rant. Jay Johnson, I'm not sure if we raised the fares, but I know that there's another company that raised their fares. And they said that, yeah, we have to get to know this segment and we have to get to know our travelers and la 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 la. And we're like, yeah, we just been running that line for almost 100 years. Of course we know the people that is traveling with it. And now we just hope that the Minister of Transportation doesn't call me in the next like 30 minutes and telling me that I'm fired. The renting cabbie, yeah, that is correct. In metric, that would be 1435 millimeters. Transparent politics, I really am looking forward to that line in California. Last time I was in Azusa, I saw that they were actually building a metro or like tram system that was going all the way out, and that is totally cool. And if they are actually converting the rail to electric, even better. So yeah, I will definitely come over at some point to actually witness that. Thank you so much for the super chat, Alan Smith. Thank you for the link, Transparent Politics. Peter Morrison, yep, we are pretty aware of that, especially us who are working with this, that actually I would say that are professionals. The politicians thinks this is going to be great. We are going to make this a lot better than in the UK. They didn't manage to do it right, but we are.
Neste stasjon Bergen. Dette togets endestasjon. The next station is Bergen. This is our final stop.
Transparent politics, I'm definitely going to be reading up on this. And as you already see, we are now entering Bergen. And we are going to be arriving in track number 1 today, and afterwards I'm going to switch end and drive it out and park it on track number 11. And on the way back from track 11, there is actually a huge boom, which was because that a truck from DB Schenker actually had an air suspension failure or an explosion. And the boom is quite something. So if you like the sound of a boom, definitely stick around. Lorian, a lot has actually changed after they went from NSB to V. I'm actually not sure how to explain it, but just think that things has become more strict. Yeah, basically more strict, and our days are more effective, and our weeks, and yeah, they like any company, private company or company that has to compete for contracts, things are going to be vastly more effective. Jim Kennedy, I use Adobe Premiere for editing this when I edit these videos. Transparent politics, yeah, you know it. CJ, there is actually no sensor on that door that I actually wave on to do the Jedi hand movement on. So yeah, it might be a Jedi power, I don't know, or it might be a key. The ranting cabbie, the temps right now is really comfortable. They're basically around, during the day, they are now around like 12, 15 to 20 degrees, depending on how windy it is, but still it's really cold in the shadows, and as soon as the sun goes down it gets really cold. But there is no frost anymore, so yeah, spring is here and summer is coming. Transparent politics, you have not missed it. Commuter? Yeah, it's actually compatible with most tracks in Europe, so we could actually be running a service all the way from Norway and down to Germany, and yeah, as long as you are able to use all the different power systems and safety systems, that is basically what hinders cross-border traffic. But we can easily drive trains into Sweden, and years ago in the 80s we actually had a train that went all the way down to Copenhagen. Larry Ford, so tempted, so tempted. Okay, so that basically brings us to the end of this trip and this stream, and I really want to thank everyone for joining in today, and it has been really interesting. Yeah, so thank you everyone, and thank you so much for the super chats, and I'll guess I see you here again soon, and next time I will probably stream Transport Fever 2, so stay tuned for that. So I want to wish you all a great weekend, happy crisis, and stay safe and healthy everyone. Thank you!